right, good morning, good morning. Whew, yes, we are continuing our adventure in nonviolent communication, studying the book of the same name by Marshall Rosenberg. And as we were talking about last week, the contents of the book are very much in alignment with what we're about here at Unity, because it's kind of all about remembering and expressing the highest that is within us, right? And seeing the highest within everyone else, even when they're not expressing it. And so NVC is a system for helping us return to our natural state of love and compassion, and by doing that, inspiring others to also return to theirs. Now, we're learning a new language, right? This is a new language. How many of you have attended one of the book study groups, either the in-person or the online? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, it's the book studies are really good, and if you didn't get a chance to join last week, you are welcome to join today. It's after the service, or if you can't stay, I have one via Zoom on Monday. Just let me know and I'll send you the Zoom link. Because it is a new language, right? It's a new language that we have to learn, and practicing it is the best way to do it. Once we really put it into use, we shift our way of thinking. We're shifting our way of thinking, and we're more open to compassion for ourselves and for others. We just embrace more compassion for ourselves, for others, for the world. We have a newer understanding of the world. And so last week we introduced the 4 components of NVC, which we will continue to visit throughout this 5-week journey, because again, this is this new language and we want to get used to it. And how's it work in my life? How's it work in this situation? So the basic units here are, number 1, observe. We observe concrete action without judgment, right? Without evaluation. Concrete action that affects our well-being. And that's the tricky part, without judgment. And we're going to get into this more today. So, for example, I could say I get a statement, a credit card statement in mail, and I'm looking at it, and I see a charge on this credit card bill for Instacart that I was unexpected. I had a feeling I knew who it might have been. So now, step 2 is my feeling. How do I feel now, right? I want to identify my feelings. And I want to state it to this person in a way that I start with the observation and then how I feel when I observe it. So when I see a charge on my credit card bill for Instacart that I'm not expecting, I feel bewildered and dismayed and mistrustful, right? And then the third thing, now I can identify the need. What am I needing? The need that's connected to the feeling. And when you do this, you want to keep the other person out of this. We don't want to say, I need you to do something, right? It's all about us. We are owning this need. So I am needing more communication, more trust, more honesty. And then the 4th thing is the request. Now I make a request. And I say, would you be willing to call me and let me know in advance if you need to charge something on my credit card, right? This was an actual conversation a few years ago, and it worked. Worked really well. So these are the steps that we're going to get to learn, and learn how to use them in various conversations. So now, we also talked last week really briefly, about just 2 of the things the ways of speaking and thinking that block our compassion. Compassion for ourselves, compassion for others. And the first is moralistic judgment. And that's when we name people as bad or wrong when they don't act in alignment with what we value. So, she's flaky. These people are selfish. These people are greedy. He's insensitive. Right? We're focusing on the wrongness of someone. We're focusing on the wrongness rather than what it is we need and aren't getting. It's not a good way to go about trying to get our needs met if we're just focusing on the wrongness of someone else, right? And also, it kind of adds to the violence of the collective consciousness. And he says, Marshall Rosenberg points out, that in a culture where we label people as good or bad, and the bad people we believe need to be punished, and we see this reflected in a lot of Hollywood movies, right? Particularly hero movies or video games where there is, the good guys go after the bad guys and they capture them, right? And then they kill them. Yay, everybody cheers. It's a lot. It's permeating our culture. He says in a culture like this, there is a definite increase in actual violence. And in countries where they're more likely to identify their needs of themselves and of somebody else, there's less violence, which I think is a really interesting way of observing that. All right, so the next form of judgment is comparing. Now, most of us on a spiritual path, we know that if we compare ourselves with others, kind of robs us of our peace, right? You want to make yourself feel really miserable really fast? Compare yourself with really accomplished people. Or how about female and male models and fashion magazines? Ooh, that'll do it. So what we're doing is that we're blocking compassion for ourselves, and we're giving ourselves the message that we're not worthy of love and of recognition. When what we're really wanting is love and acceptance of who we are exactly the way we are. We need it from ourselves first. And then we can request it from others too. The next form of life, he calls this life-alienating communication. It blocks the compassion, but he says it's either life-enhancing or life-alienating. So these are life-alienating communication. Is that we talked about last week, denial of responsibility, particularly when it's reflected in the statement, I have to do this, as opposed to I choose to do this. All right? When we do this, we are assigning someone else outside of us or force outside of us for our behavior, making us do things that we don't want to do, like an authority figure, a boss, a spouse, just the peer pressure or the societal roles, gender roles, and uncontrollable impulses. So how many of you actually practiced that this week? We had a little assignment last week that we're going to pay attention to a couple. Okay, well, you got another chance this week. We're going to pay attention to all the times we say or think, I have to. And then when we catch that, shift it to I choose to. I choose to. It just, not only does it help, center you in peace, but you take back your power, right? Not out there, it's in here. Okay, so the last one he talks about is demands. And this is when we threaten people with blame or punishment, actual punishment, for not complying. So, and it could be even unspoken. I'm going to give you the cold shoulder till you get me what I want, that kind of thing. And he says in the book that when we do this, we may get what we want. We may force people to do what it is we want, but we will pay for it dearly, one way or the other, because it doesn't come from the heart. It's not coming from the heart. It's coming from a sense of obligation or shame, right? Or blame or guilt. And that always backfires. So we want to watch that language. So, okay, these are all the ways that we block compassion for ourselves and others. Now remember, the premise that we started with is that the reality, the highest reality of our nature is one of love. And that we are all expressions of the same one source, the same one love. Therefore, we're all connected. Therefore, it is our nature to give and receive love and compassion from each other. And when that doesn't happen, something's gotten in the way. And so, both unity and NVC, nonviolent communication, we refer to it as NVC, have a similar premise in that we are born innocent. We are really born of love. And we come into this world that is really upside down thinking. At UCP, you may have heard me say many times that we're born into this world that is asleep and dreaming the dream of separation, that we're separate from each other, we're separate from source, we're separate from our good. And if you take it out into the broader kind of traditional Christianity or other religions, is this belief, even if you're not even raised Christian, but it's kind of in the collective psyche, that we're born in sin. That our inherent nature is evil. And so we have to manage it. We have to correct it. We have to or get somebody to help us fix it, right? And so, he's saying, and so we learn these life-alienating communications because we don't know anything else. This is kind of, what our default of what we're doing to kind of figure it out, navigate through this upside-down world. And he says, life-alienating communication both stems from and supports hierarchical and domination societies where large populations are controlled by a small number of individuals to those individuals' benefit. Right? So think autocrats, dictators, kings. It's in their interest that you continue to believe that you are flawed or evil and you need to be managed. Somebody needs to help you and, control you, right? So, I think about, how do dictators and autocrats come to power? Look no further. If the population is believing I'm inherently evil and I need somebody to help me be good, that's it. We're giving our power away. So as synchronicity would have it, I have this calendar in my office that has, inspirational sayings every month and a beautiful photograph. You've seen these. And I just turned to March, and it was Pema Chodron. And she says, virtuous behavior is not about doing good because we're bad and need to shape up. Instead of guilt or dogma, how we choose to act can be guided by wisdom and kindness. Seen in this light, our question then boils down to what awakens my heart and what blocks that process from happening. What awakens my heart or what blocks that process from happening. We can all do this individually. It's just kind of a retraining. Right? And it would benefit us enormously if we all wake up and remember, that we are from love, that we are love, that we are expressions of love. That is our nature, and that we're all connected. That's what we're doing here, right? We come here to remind each other and remind ourselves of this. All right, so before I move on to the next section, I'd like to invite someone to come up. Kellyanne, read this prose that's featured pretty prominently in this book by Ruth Biebermeyer. Oh,
All right.
thank you.
Sure. I've never seen a lazy man. I've seen a man who never ran while I watched him, and I've seen a man who sometimes slept between lunch and dinner, and who'd stay at home upon a rainy day, but he was not a lazy man. Before you call me crazy, think, was he a lazy man, or did he just do things that we label lazy? I've never seen a stupid kid. I've seen a kid who sometimes did things I didn't understand or things in ways I hadn't planned, but I've seen a kid who hadn't seen the same places where I had been. But he was not a stupid kid. Before you call him stupid, think, was he a stupid kid or did he just know different things than I did? I've looked as hard as I can look, but never seen a cook. I saw a person who combined ingredients on which we dined, a person who turned on the heat and watched the stove that cooked the meat. I saw those things, but not a cook. Tell me, when you're looking, is it a cook you see, or is someone doing things we call cooking? What some of us call lazy, some call tired or easygoing. What some of us call stupid, some just call a different knowing. So I've come to the conclusion, it will save us all confusion if we don't mix up what we can see with what is our opinion. Because you may, I also want to say, I know it's only my opinion.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. I think that just puts it in really easy to understand terms. So we're talking about observation without evaluation. Observation without evaluation. That's really looking at something and taking our judgment out of it. So what Marshall Rosenberg is suggesting, recommending, is something that has been endorsed by spiritual masters and spiritual texts from the beginning of time. If you think about it, Hinduism has this practice of Sakshi Bhava, which is to be present as a witness, the state of being a witness. So it's looking at the activity in your mind and your body with a separation of the witness, being in the witness consciousness. And that helps us to recognize that there is this higher self, this eternal self, this I that I am, that is distinct from all of the ever-changing phenomena of the world. And isn't that a practice we want to continue to do, to know that? So in Buddhism, they have, mindfulness practice, which is the practice of being present to what is without judging it as good or bad or preferable or to be avoided, just being present to what is. And so similarly in NVC, there is this goal of creating a separation between the observation and the evaluation, getting our judgment out of what we are observing and being just present with that, right? Which is not always an easy thing to do, not always an easy thing to maintain. That's why it's a practice, right? It's a practice. And so I'm going to invite you here in this moment to get a little taste of this. So go ahead and sit back, get relaxed. You're going to keep your eyes open for this one. But just get comfortable and relax. Take a deep breath. Now, I want you to notice the temperature in the room. Notice the temperature. Just feel what it is without judging. It's too cool, it's too warm. Just being present to what is. Now, look outside the window. Look at the trees outside the window. Without judging, oh, I can't wait till those leaves come back on those trees. Can't wait for spring. Just being present to the beauty of what that is right now in that state. Take a breath. Be present in this moment. Feel the sensations in your body. Be present to what's going on in your body. Any aches or pains anywhere? Maybe your tummy, maybe you're feeling some hunger pangs right now. See if you can just be present to that without thinking, I gotta put some food in there to stop that. Can't wait to have lunch. Just be here with that experience, with that sensation. And breathe. And be present to this moment for another moment without judging. This is going on too long. I wish she'd stop. I hate these kind of exercises. I love these kind of exercises. Just being here in the moment. One more minute. Okay. Come on back fully, feeling present. So some of you might have felt like really peaceful, like that was a really lovely, peaceful thing. Other people were like incredibly bored, or you feel the judgment coming up, and you go, ah. Again, it's a practice. It's something we're just going to try, and we're going to practice. And you can do it anywhere you are. You can practice it in a sort of mindfulness meditation where you're sitting there, where you're walking the sacred spaces. This is a perfect place to practice this kind of thing. You can practice it in, you're out and about. So this week I had an experience of this in the grocery store. And I was in line, and there was somebody in front of me, and the clerk was so slow. She was packing these bags, just really carefully putting it in so slowly. And that usually makes me really tense because I'm always in a hurry, like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. God, she's so slow, right? So I became aware that was happening, and I thought, and so when I finally got up to her, I thought, okay, let me just be with this experience and this person and make a connection. And I looked in her eyes. She had beautiful eyes. She had a really interesting name. We talked a little bit about how her name came to be. And I felt myself just relaxing and being present and being, really with this person in this connected way. And then I noticed that she had scars all up and down her arm. And I thought, how much pain do you have to be in to mutilate yourself like that? And my heart just went out to her. And I just thought, oh, let me just send you love. Just want to send, she was a young girl. Just send you love. And I don't know if she felt it, but I felt really present in the moment in this natural state of love with this other person who was open, just open. She was there, And then I left feeling like that experience, that was the life-enhancing experience that he talks about. It's a life-enhancing for me, hopefully for her. So look for opportunities when you are going about your week and you are tempted to make a judgment driving down the highway. That's a really good opportunity to experience that. How much judgment do we have of other drivers? Just being present. We never know what is going on with somebody. All right, you agree? This is our practice for this week? All right. Namaste. Hi. If this video has inspired you, opened your heart, expanded your consciousness, filled you with hope, empowered you in some way, we encourage you to support what we offer here at Unity Center of Peace by making your donation now. And thank you.